Hello guys, here is Aether Nomad, the mod maker behind Hellenica. Some people asked me recently if I could record myself while I was creating some mods. And I thought about it, and in the end I decided why not. So here am I. But before I can actually start, I have to give you a small disclaimer. First, English is not my mother language. And first, I will very certainly have make big mistakes of pronunciation. I will also sometimes have trouble in finding the words for what I'm trying to say. Well, it won't be very pleasant to listen to, and I'm really sorry for that. But well, you don't have to like it. Myself, I don't think I would watch what I will do right now, but eh, some people asked for it. So well, we'll see if they like it, and if they do, maybe I'll continue. Anyway, these people are you, in fact, since you are watching right now. So yes, do tell me what you think, if I should continue or if it's just too boring. And that's my second point, because in addition to the fact that English is not my first language, I also think that modding is not something that's very interesting to watch. I mean, modding in itself is a very interesting activity, but watching someone while he is modding doesn't seem very interesting to me. Mostly because, well, first, it's not visual at all. I mean, you will be able to see what I'm writing, but, well, that's not very stimulating for the eyes. And in addition to that, most of it is going on in my head. So I will try to speak while I'm modding, and that's going to be something new for me, because usually when I mod, well, I don't talk to myself, you know. But, well, we'll see if I succeed or not in making this, let's say, tolerable. Anyway, let's start right now. So before I can actually mod, I will try to tell you roughly what I have in my mind for my next creation. So at this point in time, I just released and corrected some bugs, etc. The version 2.05 of Hellenica, which includes my new nation, Betelgeuse, the nation of angels, and well, apocalyptical angels, actually. So yes, at the time where I'm making this video, this is still a new nation. And yes, the last thing I made, the last mod I made was Betelgeuse, plus I also updated Hellenica with some new stuff for Soromacia and for Asphodel. So now I'm not sure actually of what I want to do next. This is something I've already talked about in Hellenica's thread, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe just on Discord. I don't remember exactly. And I'm not sure. Yes, about what I should do next. I have several ideas for new mod nations, but none of them is really good enough currently at the present time to be sure that this is what I will do. And I cannot do everything I have in my mind. Most of my ideas are not compatible with each other. Furthermore, there are other things than nations that I could do. I could also improve over Hellenica nation, well, over Vanilla nation, sorry, for Hellenica, as I already did for many other nations. And also, I have a few ideas for some mods that change the way we play in general, without necessarily creating new content. So game modes, if you prefer. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is the first step for a potential candidate for my next mod nation. So keep in mind that I am not sure at all at this time that this nation will be finished someday. It is very possible that I will never finish it, but at least I will start it. And yeah, there are plenty of nations actually that I have started creating and never finished. So it is very possible that this, what I will do right now, won't have any real utility. So what is this nation I have in mind right now that I maybe won't finish it, but maybe I will? It is a nation that is in part inspired by a famous, ancient Greek book that many of among you may have heard of, because it's a frequent subject of of discussion, at least on Discord. So let me switch to the next view. So right now, yes, you should be seeing the Wikipedia page of this Greek text. So it is a true story by Lucian of Samosata. And, this true story is not true at all, obviously. It's actually one of the first novels of history which imagines many peoples and populations and cultures with lot of imagination and a very satirical tone. It's not fantasy. It's it's not mythology either, even though there are very deep mythological roots to this text. But there's something humoristic behind it, and it borrows to a lot of myths from ancient Greece. So actually, you can find in this text the city of Nephrocoxygia, as an example. Yes, that very same city that the how do we say that? The peacemaker. Well, I'm not sure. The writer, let's say, the writer Aristophanes. Aristophanes. I don't remember how it's called in English. Aristophanes, I say, wrote. Yes, he wrote this famous theater piece called The Birds, and this gave birth to my mod nation, Nephrocoxygia. And Nephrocoxygia also appears in a true story. In addition, there are also blemishes in this text. So blemishes are these strange guys. This one is a theapod. Blemishes don't have a head, but I took inspiration from them both in my other nation, U. As you can see, this is a very good source of inspiration. And actually, it is kind of, random chance if my idea for this next nation is also going to be partly inspired by a true story, because originally, when I had this idea, it didn't come at all from a true story. It came from other researches. But yes, I learned afterwards, or maybe I remembered afterwards. I retrieved the information that this idea actually has some origin also in a true story. Anyway, what is the idea I want to work on right now? It is a nation of beings that came from the moon. So obviously we are thinking of the moon in a very mythological way here, not at all a scientific or way, not at all in the same way as science fiction, but rather this phantasmagorical way that you can find in lots of novels from Renaissance and before, including a true story. Well, for example, there's this famous person. Well, I don't think he existed for real. He's called Munchausen. So yes, Baron Munchausen. So this guy had lots of stories about him during the Enlightenment century, and one of these stories, he was riding a cannonball up to the moon. So that's very surrealistic, exactly like Blemis, for example. And it's not originally intended to be serious, to be taken seriously, but it gave birth to a universe, to an aesthetic, and we can see that in the way the people of the moon are described in all these stories. So I will not try to be very faithful to the historical takes on them, but they will be my inspiration. So basically, my idea here is a people, not a human people, that lives on the moon and descended on the Earth for conquest, maybe, and to ascend through the thrones of ascension. So at this point in time, the law is very, very vague in my mind. Most of it still has to be thought about a lot. But, well, I can already start working on something, and that something is the flag. So now I will try creating the flag for this nation. And my main idea for now is for the crest. I want the crest to be a full moon, but maybe not a full moon as realistic as in a photograph. So right now I will go through the process of creating the sprite for that flag, including the crest. And I will start with searching for a picture that I can use and modify to make that crest. So when I create a flag for a Dominion's nation, I always follow some very specific rules. One of the rules is that the only kind of drawing that I add on the flag is the crest. Maybe sometimes I can also change the pole, like the wooden piece that holds the flag together. It's acceptable in my rules to use something else than a wooden pole. I did this, for example, for Nabatem. I used a stone pillar that looks very impressive compared to other flag poles. But yeah, I don't think I will do this for this nation. However, I will at least create a crest, as I said. As for the flag itself, well, it will follow the same rules as usual. That is to say, exactly two colors, exactly the same shape as other flags in the vanilla game. So a border, very thin, a shape with two spikes in the bottom, and between the borders, the secondary color that's plain and simple. But you'll see, when I color the flag, maybe something more will be going on with contrasts and things like that. Obviously, if you already know how to make some sprites, well, you won't be surprised at all. Oh, this one is pretty nice, actually. Alright, right now what I will do is saving some pictures. Lots of pictures. I will probably not use all of them, but it will be useful potentially. So, how are we gonna call that nation? Well, for now, I don't have a definitive name, but let's say Selenis. Obviously, because, well, that's the Greek root for moon, and that's not well, the same name exactly as the goddess. How is she called exactly? Selene, yes. It's not the same word as Selene, so it might work. Anyway, well, let's try by creating a subfolder for the flag. And we'll save these pictures inside it. So here, all right. And which one did I save? The second one, yes, I think, yeah. So let's save this one too. All right. By the way, don't hesitate to ask me some questions if you have any. I will try to answer in my next video if I make another one. So yes, let's take this picture, for example. Obviously, I can't take it. I can't take it because it's not spherical. So it's very important when saving pictures for spriting to make sure that the shape and, more importantly, the shadows, the lightning, are the way you want. Because that's pretty hard to change once you have saved the picture. So I will only take spherical moons, like these two. This one, maybe it doesn't look as good as the other two, but it doesn't matter necessarily, because anyway we will be reducing these pictures in size a lot. So in the end we won't really see the difference, but I still prefer, I think, these two for the colors. But what I had in mind was not a realistic photograph, but I'm not sure of where I could find, what I want. What I wanted was maybe something a bit more cartoony, a bit like this famous picture from George Méliès' movie, well, one of George Méliès' movie, I don't remember how it's called, A Trip to the Moon. So, well, let's see quickly what else we have here. This one has a glow, and in addition, it doesn't have good contrast, so no, won't be useful. This one is not at all the kind of color what I'm looking for. It looks much too scientific. And is it even the moon? Yes, it's the moon. Okay, let's see what there was before. Yes, again, a glow and colors with not enough contrast. Yeah, this one, again, well, you know, there's leaves in front of it, sorry, so useless. This one could be useful. That's the kind I had in mind. I had in mind a moon with lots of craters, you know. More than that, like craters you can touch almost with your eyes. But, well, let's save it just in case. It could be useful. Who knows? What else? Well. I think it will be hard to find more realistic photographs. Well, I mean, more useful realistic photographs. So now let's find some drawings, maybe. I hate the way Google, how is it called in English? Well, the Google search for pictures works. I hate the way it works because very often what you find is not very pertinent. And I'm sure there are lots of good pictures on the internet, but yeah, it's hard to find them with Google. This kind, I like it, but that's not usable for a sprite. I don't think so. eh, it may be hard to find other pictures like that, so I will save it just in case, but whoops. But I doubt I will end up using this one. But that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, maybe with more colors and less drawing details, you know. Oh, this kind of Renaissance-like drawing could be great too, because that's one of the aesthetical inspirations I have for this nation. I mean, part of it is inspired by a true story, but part of it is also inspired by several books from Renaissance and a bit after that. It's nice, but not enough color to be useful. That's the problem with drawings, you know. Very often they have a style, and that's great for the artistic side of things, but that's not great for sprites, especially Dominion sprites. Dominion sprites work very well with photographs, but they don't work very well with stylish things. So maybe searching for drawings won't bring anything useful, actually. But yeah, I'm not sure how to find what I'm looking for. So I will have to make lots of research, most likely. Well, I think... Oh. Yeah, that's nice. That's, you know, a primitive cartography of the moon made with primitive telescopes from soon after Galileo. Yeah, that's... Oops. I won't use that for a crest, that's for sure, but I could take inspiration from Galileo, Kepler, and things like that for this nation, definitely. A Pokemon. Oh, that's nice. I can't use that for a crest, but that's very nice. I could see that as an inspiration for the nation. Whoops. Nope. That's not what I want. Where was I? Yes. Well, I will certainly not use it, but let's save it just in case. And this one too. Oh, no, not enough color for it to be useful, and can find more Renaissance things if I want. Alright. Let's do some other research. How will we find what I want? Cartoon, maybe? Meh. Much too cartoony. Whoops. What's that? That's not bad, actually. I mean, right here, it definitely looks like something that was made with a computer, and that's not the style we want for Dominions. But since we are going to scale down the image for the for the crest, it might work in the end. It might end up working. Yeah, that's the kind of things I was looking for, roughly. Is there something else? Meh. You see, that's the kind of thing I wanted, but there's not enough detail at all here. It won't look realistic. Not enough realistic, I mean. Not realistic enough. So it won't do. Ooh, that's a nice one. There are some marks, but I could try to remove them. I think that's doable because, well, that's going to be scaled down, so it won't be very visible. I don't think that will be good enough for the sprite, but it could be useful anyway. Alright. What else could I look for? Yeah, crater. I had that in mind. Moon crater or something. Nah. There's too much shadow, not enough color. That's nice. That could work, maybe. Nah. I don't think so, but let's save it just in case. Nope. Not round enough. Not detailed enough. Alright. Well, maybe I should have put music in the background. I will probably do it, or I will try to do it in post-prod, if you want. I hope you're not too bored right now. Oh, yes. The Little Prince is definitely going to be a source of inspiration for that too. I mean, that's the same kind of spirit as what I used for Ooh, for example. There's an intentionally unrealistic tone behind it, but I will make it serious. With the force of magic and mythology, you know? Oh, well, that's one I saved earlier, right? Mostly. Not exactly. Yeah, not at all, actually, but it looks very similar. Well, is it? Oh. Well, it could be useful. It's nice. Yeah, that's the one I saved. Yeah, that's it. Nah. Nah. Myth, maybe? Oh, stylized. Nah. I have better. Oops. Cheese moon. Here, you know, there's a flag, which is, well, of course, not what I want, but that's easy to remove. Still, not great, so I won't take it. Not great for what I want, I mean. Did I have something like that? Anyway, that's probably too pale. I could fix it, but it's gonna be hard to cut it. To cut the picture correctly. So yeah, not worth the work. I can find better here. That's a nice one. But I have better, I think. Let's see, what do we have for now? So, well, maybe I will take a realistic picture. I mean, these two are really not bad at all. They're very nice. What I really want to avoid is a simple crescent, you know, like has. That's boring and not the style I'm going to for this nation. I want to put some emphasis on the fact that these people literally live on the moon. So there must be, in some way, a realistic side to it. I mean, it must not be the magical, alchemical, mythological moon. It must be really a planet, you know, well, a satellite. But at the same time, the fact that these people are living on the moon is a very naive idea, something that a child could come up with. So I also don't want it to be too realistic. I want a realistic design, but a non-realistic style. Anyway, even if I take a realistic style, I would have a realistic design, so that could work, maybe. That could work. A non-realistic style is not absolutely necessary. This one doesn't look as good as the other two, really. I think this one is my favorite between the three for now. This one has very interesting colors, but as a crest, it wouldn't look very good. I could reduce the contrast, but that would be messy. These two, well, the one on the left obviously is not as good as these three, because it doesn't have much contrast, it doesn't have much color, well, it doesn't have any color actually. The one on the right, I wonder if that's a zoom actually. A zoom of, well, a small part of the moon rather than the moon, and taken in a round shape. I don't know. It doesn't look very spherical. That's the issue. But I like the craters. Anyway, it looks flat. The craters are too small. I mean, they will certainly disappear when I scale down the picture. There's no color. There's not enough contrast. Yeah, that's not great. This one, that's already better. I would have to remove the pencil and fill up the hole, but that's not very hard to do, I think. The real issue here, well, I'm not sure it's an issue. Actually, it's very nice. It's a very nice one, because I like how we can see the craters on the side here in such a way that it's not perfectly spherical, you know. That's the naive kind of thing I'm looking for, all the while remaining a realistic design in the way of a planet, rather than just a crescent with a face. I mean, it's the same kind of planet that you'd find in The Little Prince. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. It doesn't have any color again, but I think that's okay, because it does have some contrast, and the moon, after all, doesn't really need colors. I mean, even if I take a picture with colors, that's minor. In the end, that will be a very pale crest. I think I could work with this one. That's a good pretender for the crest. This one, well, we took it just because it was interesting, but obviously I won't use it for the crest. Alright, we have to compare these two. That's hard, because we have to keep in mind that I will be scaling down these pictures. This one, well, what I dislike, as I said earlier, is the lack of detail. It doesn't look like a real object. This one looks more real, I think, even though it looks more like a drawing. That's hard to tell, actually. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to tell. I could work with both. The shape on this one is more irregular. I think I prefer the regular shape, but at the same time, it's also, well, the craters are more visible. Yeah, this one is not as good as the other ones, that's for sure. It looks much too cartoony. It looks a bit flat. Yeah, I won't use this one at all. This one is very small, that could be an issue, and yeah, well, it's like it's missing details. It has only a few craters. It looks flat. Yeah, that's a bad one. And this one, okay, I will delete the ones that are really useless, because that way it will be easier to compare the others. So let's compare these two for starters. Well, they have roughly the same problems, so this means that we could rather easily find which one is the best. And for now, well, actually, the one on the left, this one, looks more spherical, and I like that, because as I said, this one looks maybe a bit too irregular. This one looks more regular, more smooth. So yes, I think I prefer this one, even though the craters are less nice. But yeah, this one is very good. I could really use that. A problem here is that the shadow is very dark and there's a light blue reflection here. That's an even worse problem than the shadow. The shadow I could manage, but yeah, this lighting, this blue lighting, that's not great at all. I have to fix this one if I use it, because, well, it will look weird without the blue background. And well, it won't look natural at all, since there will be two sources of light. But at the same time, I'm not sure it will be very visible on a crest. I think my best bet right now is to try. I will try several. I won't try them till the end. I won't make them. I probably won't use them. I probably won't make them all usable as crests. But I will start by cutting them, then scaling them down, and see, well, how it looks, what I can do to improve them, and maybe, maybe reach a satisfying result. And well, if none of them is good enough, well, we'll see. And in that case, I will look for something else. It has already happened in the past. Well, sometimes it's hard to tell just from random pictures if they will make good crests or good sprites in general. But we will see that much more easily by trying. So, which one will we start with? I'm really inspired by this one, and its issues are the hardest to fix if they need fixing. So I will probably start with this one to see if the issues need fixing or not, and how hard it's going to be. Because if it appears that the issues are not really problematic, then I maybe won't even need to try the other ones. Excuse me. So, let's try. How will I proceed? Sometimes I use paint to first cut down the picture and then scale it down, because it has some tools that are more intuitive and therefore easier to use. I think I will do that. So I will start by launching MS Paint. So as you can see, most of my tools are in French, because I'm French. So it's possible that you won't understand some of the things that are written up there. That's more likely to be a problem with GIMP, which has more complicated menus and tools. But I mean, the interface is the same regardless of the language normally. So I think you should be able to do the same thing at home by just watching where I'm clicking to get things to work. So let's start with that moon. Here it is. So actually I will go full screen because I need space. Here there's not much contrast, so it's gonna be a bit trickier than on the other side. As you can see when you zoom, there's some kind of how do you say that? Well, it's not a brutal change from the background to the item itself, but here the item is so big that it's not a problem at all. I mean, I can go a bit brutally. I can make the border a bit brutally. It won't be visible since I mean, how many pixels is it? 800 pixels. Well, for the whole square, so a bit smaller for the moon itself. But yeah, it won't be visible. For smaller base pictures, it can be more of an issue. So I will start by picking a color that is very, very visible, so that I am sure to very clearly see what I'm doing. And now I will, well, color the sides of this moon in order to quickly be able to manipulate it. So you might be asking yourself, why am I not using an automatic tool for that? Well, there are two reasons. The first reason is that I'm bad. Nah, I mean, I don't I don't master all the tools that GIMP can offer. For example, there are some things that I still need to learn. I'm learning with time, slowly but surely. But yeah, that's one reason. GIMP is a hard program to use, and Paint is just a program that doesn't do much by itself. So that's something I still need to learn to. I mean, I know some of the tools I could use for that, but I find them hard of use, and in the end, this is easier and quicker for me. So that's the first reason. And what's the second reason? The second reason is that I don't remember, but the first reason is good enough. I mean, it shouldn't take too long. It shouldn't take too long. But I will have to say some things that aren't gonna be very interesting, so that you don't fall asleep. I could cut the video, but I'm very, very lazy, and I'm not sure it's worth the work. I'm not even sure I will put some music in the background in the end, so you know. You can see that it's going smoothly. So let's talk, when I'm coloring, let's talk about what I could do with this nation. Well, my first thought is that I could make it an underwater nation. And that's not what I had in mind originally for this nation. But while I was thinking about what's the mod I should do next, I was a bit hesitant, because I know that Hellenica needs more good water nations. So I want to make a new underwater mod, but yeah, it's very hard to find interesting ideas for underwater nations. Very hard, both mechanically and thematically. There are several reasons for this. One of them is that, mankind isn't as imaginative as we could think, especially in myth. Many myths sure have underwater nations, but in the end, they all look pretty similar to each other. Most have powers that are linked to water, which means that if I made a nation, a mod, based on these myths, well, the resulting nation would have to have high water magic, which is not good, because all water nations already have water magic in the vanilla game. It makes them bland and similar, and that's not great. That's not interesting for players, you know. So that's the first issue with finding good themes for underwater nations. Another issue is that, in addition to their magical powers, they still are very similar in myths for other reasons. Most of them are just fish people, you know, or maybe dolphin peoples, or humanoids, people who are hybrids with aquatic animals. That's boring. There are too many underwater nations that use this concept. It's useless to make more with this concept. I mean, of course, there are a few that don't have this concept, mainly Ferodos and Is, but, they also share the same concept roughly. They both are humans or other humanoid people from the land, from the dry land, who somehow were cursed and forced to live underwater with the power of some blessing, allowing them to breathe underwater without air. So yeah, again, that's already made, already done. So yeah, if we go over that, what could there be? Imprisoned guys? That's almost the same thing. No, that doesn't work. So yeah, that's hard to find some thematically adequate ideas to create underwater nations with. And then there's also a mechanical problem, as I said, and that is that most water nations, well, there are several problems with underwater gameplay, and I don't think I am the best person to talk about it. I mean, you probably already agree with that, but yeah, let's just, for now, remember that underwater fighting is most of the time decided solely by who has the most water elementals. That's not very interesting mechanically. Well, one way to avoid that would be to make a nation that completely forgoes water magic. And I would very much like to do that. But there are other issues, like finding adequate thematics for a whole nation, you know, that wouldn't be the same as usual. Imprisoned guys, cursed guys, blessed guys, or animal guys, half animal guys. So, or again mermaids. Too many mermaids in this game. We don't need more. Like some people recently suggested that I could make a nation of Selkies. Selkies are these mythological beings that are based on. How is it called in English? In French, it's Otari. So in English, yeah, seals, of course, yeah, I knew that. Anyway, they're based on seals, but actually their mythology is exactly the same as mermaids. So yeah, boring again. I can't make a whole nation based on that. The sprites would be boring. The concept would be boring. It would have to use underwater magic again. No, that doesn't work. So, how can our moon people be an underwater nation, you ask? Well, I have lots of ideas for that, actually. Where do astronauts make live tests before they go to space? Yeah, in water. I mean, when astronauts test their combinations, their space suits, and when they test zero gravity on Earth, well, the closest thing scientists found is swimming, floating inside a big pool. So, yeah, there is a close proximity, practically speaking, between living on the moon and living underwater. In both cases, you can jump higher, you feel lighter, and you can't breathe either on the moon or underwater. So it would perfectly make sense that moon people are completely amphibious. I mean, they don't need air if there's no air on the moon. So if they don't need air, well, they can survive underwater. And it would be an environment that they are used to, because, like on the moon, they can just jump and feel light, and yeah, they don't have to run because it's impossible, just like on the moon, etc. So, I mean, it feels natural for moon people to feel at ease underwater. That's one reason. Another big reason is that the moon is symbolically associated with water, and with a lot of other things. I agree, but with water too, because of the tides. Yes, as you know, the tides are caused by the gravity and the movements and attraction of the sun and the moon on the Earth's oceans. So there is a symbolic link between the moon and the ocean, and such symbolic links are exactly what Dominion's magics is made of. When something has powers over something else in Dominions, that is because of symbolic links usually. So it would feel right that the moon people go underwater because the moon is linked with water. And that would be enough to represent their link, which would mean that I don't have to give them water magic either. I mean, they are moon people, there's no water on the moon. The moon attracts water, the moon has some power over water, but moon people, not particularly. They just came underwater because somehow, well, they were attracted to it, or maybe it was simpler to create a portal between the moon and the ocean than within, than between, I mean, the moon and the dry land. I mean, maybe they made some kind of metaphysical or magical bridge between the moon and the sea, and I mean, by using the power of the moon itself, it would have been simpler than doing the same thing with the Earth itself. So, I mean, it's easy to justify that moon people went underwater first before conquering the rest of the world. And in addition, there is another common thematic between the moon and the ocean. And that common thematic is weirdness. Beings of the sea, beings that live under the sea, are weird. That's a common thematic. Take, for example, the Isian guys, the guys that Is can recruit, the amphibian guys with gills, like these green guys. I don't remember their name, but yeah, they are described as very ugly, but with a kind heart like humans. And, well, I mean, to me, that's the kind of thing you would be expecting from a water people, because that's weird. They are weird. That's what it truly means to say that they are ugly looking. That just means that they are weird. In the same way, Atlanteans in Dominions are very weird. They're disgusting, slimy frog people. You feel alienated when you look at them, and actually, really, okay, I can't pronounce that. Really, yay, really, yays, guys, are obviously aliens. Aliens. They came from space too, and they came underwater. So, all right, in their case, that's because the falling star fell in the ocean, and that's the great idea too, and I don't want to copy it because it would be more of the same, obviously. But anyway, it confirms what I'm saying about the link between water and weirdness or aliens. And this same link can be found between, well, in the with things that come from the moon. I mean, the moon always was a symbol of weirdness, especially since the spatial era, because, well, I mean, it's space, and space is weird. Nothing works like on Earth, like at home in space. There's no gravity, or it means, I mean, not much. You die in thousands of horrible ways if you remove your suit. I mean, in the video games Portal, the science fiction MacGuffin material that allows portals to work is some kind of moon material, because the moon is weird and allows to do weird things with science, and also in mythology, because symbolically the moon always was a symbol of dreaming and another world that's very different from ours. The people of the moon are soft people who wouldn't survive on the dry land on Earth, because our world is a world without dreaming, a world where facts are stronger than feelings, and, well, the world we dream of is not the same at all. And the moon is a symbol of dreams. It's a symbol of weirdness. It's a symbol of anything that is not factual, anything that is that came out of our imagination for the better and for the best and for the worst. I mean, there are some good dreams, there are some bad dreams, but mostly there are weird dreams. So yeah, that's another common point between the moon and the sea in symbols. So again, it makes sense that weird people from the moon would join weird people from the sea. I mean, it means that from the perspective of humans, and humans are the guys who tell the story in Dominions. Dominions is a story told from the perspective of humans. That's why in late ages, non-humans beings, non-human races are starting to get rarer and to die off and to become more human. So, I mean, we are the guys who tell the story here, because we're telling it from our own perspective. So, from our perspective, weird guys are leaving the sea to attack us. And they are weird because they are different, and they come from a place that's different than our place. And their place is much more different from ours than, I don't know, the Kaelians' place, because they also live on the dry land like us, while sea people don't. So they are weirder. And if it turns out that these weird people that attack us from the sea are actually originating from the moon, well, again, it makes sense. I mean, they're weird anyway, regardless of whether they come from the moon, or from a falling star, or from the sea. They're weird, that's all. From our perspective, they come from somewhere else in both cases. So that's how I'm thinking that maybe I could merge these two ideas of a nation of moon people first, and second, a nation, well, an underwater nation with original mechanics such as maybe no water magic. So those are my first thoughts about this nation. Uh, I think I could work with that. Of course, that's not enough to really make a nation out of it. I still need to think of lots of things. I mean, just no water magic is not good enough of a weird mechanic. I have higher standards than that. I mean, my last nation had very weird mechanics with gods that you sacrifice, prophets that you sacrifice, uh, high order scales in a pop kill nation, and who also has some weird mechanics, like almost inexistent magic, but auto spellcasters. So yeah, even my nation, even before that, Zune had really original mechanics, since all male mages get punished and lose their skills. So yeah, I want to do something better than just no water magic. I want to make something more original than that, even mechanically, you know. But I have at least a beginning of idea. I'm not ready to make the nation. I have to think a lot more about it, but I can at least, well, do some little things for now, while I think about the rest. Because yeah, mechanics are very vague for now, and so is lore. But lore, well, it could come with work on the mechanics. But yeah, even well, I don't even know what they will look like, these moon people. I don't even know that yet. I think they will be white, grey white, like the moon. I think. They could look a bit like gnomes or hoburgs, maybe. I'm not satisfied with the few pictures I found on the net. They either looked too much like sci-fi aliens, or they didn't look at all like I pictures, like I pictured. Sorry, the denizens of the moon in these ancient and medieval and Renaissance stories and novels and myths. So I will have to think more about their appearance, and then only then will I be able to really think of the troops that you can recruit. Still, I can already start thinking about some of the, well, mechanics. For example, magic. What kind of magic will be available in this nation? That's not clear either, but well, let's see. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. I said that I don't want to give them water magic. That's slightly problematic because thematically, as I said, there are links between the moon and water. I mean, there are some moon mages in Vanilla Dominions already. Mostly the Eludian mages, some indie mages that you can recruit with the right sight. And their paths are very logical from a symbolical perspective. They have astral magic, water magic, death magic, and I think they also have air magic, or is it blood? I don't remember, or maybe earth. I don't remember which of the three. Sorry, they have in addition. But well, to me, air wouldn't make much sense for the moon, but it makes sense maybe for the stars or things like that. I mean, at least it's consistent with the fact that how are they called? These arcane summons, like arcane knights, or I don't remember. They also have air magic in their random paths sometimes. Anyway, it's the paths that are associated with the moon symbolically are the following: water, as I said, because the moon is linked with the tides and with weirdness, etc. Then there's obviously astral magic, because the moon obviously is, something that causes celestial light, That's a celestial being in Aristotelian metaphysics and Ptolemaic astronomy. So obviously there is a link with astral magic. Also, the moon is one of the very, very rare, well, maybe the only one actually, celestial objects in ancient astronomy that is made of Earth. Most astronomical objects, from the perspective of the Greeks, were made of celestial fire or aether or things like that. But not the moon. The moon was already thought of by the Greeks as a big stone. A big stone. So, yeah, Earth magic is obviously linked with the moon, especially since the Earth astral cross path is known to be the one with meteors, gifts from heaven. And meteors look a bit like the moon. I mean, they are basically asteroids with many craters. They cause craters, so the moon has craters, so it attracts meteors. I mean, it is linked with meteors. So yeah, the Earth astral cross path makes a lot of sense. Then there is also blood. The moon is linked with blood magic because it is well known to, in addition to causing the tides, the lunar cycles also cause some biological effects, mostly in female beings. I think you know what I'm talking about. And, I don't think I need to tell more about it, but the link with blood looks a bit obvious to me. In addition, this can be seen with the myth of werewolves. Werewolves are bloody beings. Well, I mean, they want to eat people alive. They are very hungry for human flesh and blood. And they transform in their wrathful form when the moon is full, when they are touched by the light of the moon. So again, a link between blood magic and the moon. And finally, the moon is also linked to death magic. That's because, first, it's the darkest celestial object. It's the only celestial object that looks like it is dead and that doesn't bring life, unlike the sun. It is the opposite of the sun, and the sun brings life and warmth. The moon is the opposite of that because it is the opposite of the sun. So the moon represents death, because it represents darkness and the night. And the night obviously is associated with death magic because, death magic can cause darkness and maybe summon beings with dark power. And it is also linked with the void between the stars when it is associated with astral magic. The death astral cross path is linked with nether, the void. So I think it is pretty obvious that these 5 paths are the paths that are mostly linked with the moon. I don't see any particular link between air magic and the moon. Same goes with fire magic. I could maybe picture some links with nature magic, but, well, that's not obvious at all, especially since the moon is a sterile world. It's a lifeless world. It's dead, as we said. And the opposite of death is life, nature, so, yeah. Anyway, I have to speed up a little bit, because, yeah, I'm losing some time here. As you can see, I made a mistake. My mistake was to start coloring before I scaled down the picture, which caused the process to be slower because because I don't have a big enough pencil on paint. In addition, I made another huge mistake, which is that I forgot to convert this picture from JPEG from JPEG to GIF or GIF. That's a big problem. No, not GIF, PNG. Sorry, I should have converted it to PNG. Because now, when I save a picture, this green won't be the same green everywhere. That's not a big issue, because I could use some tools to capture all kinds of greens. I think it's different enough. Anyway. Anyway, I think I can manage to fix these mistakes. But if you want to do the same thing, remember the following. First, after having saved pictures from Google, convert them to PNG. That will avoid headaches. I can guarantee it. And the second thing, well, if that's a very big picture like that, it's probably quicker to at least redimension it a little bit. Maybe not up until the final size, but just so you gain time with the coloring, you can color it after having scaled it down a little bit. However, the fact that I did that, yes, it made me lose some time, but it also has some positive sides to it. Mainly, as I said earlier, that this black border won't be as visible in the end. I mean, it means that I have more leeway to make mistakes while coloring the border, because these mistakes will become much less remarkable when I scale down the picture and well, everything becomes pixely. So, how will I fix my mistakes? Well, first, I will use GIMP to finish coloring the background, because GIMP can use pencils of any size, and that's useful here. That's what you want. So first we want the same color, then we want a brush that doesn't cause several colors to appear. This brush is perfect. We can make it bigger. That should be enough. And here we go. So that's a process I went through many times. Every time I based my sprites on photographs from the internet, mostly. Almost done. Alright, now we will be able to convert it. Whoops. You see, the thing we see here That's because I didn't convert the picture to PNG. That's the big mistake I made. All right, export, and now we will convert it, and we will fix that over issue. So I have a tool that I downloaded with modding starter pack that Redbob made. That's very useful. I can convert any picture type in any other picture type. That's very, very useful. And here we go. Now it's a PNG, but it's kept the weird colors here that we don't want. So now we will have to select this. So here, this this bar, let's say, will help you define which color you will select with the magic wand. If you put it to 0, it will only select pixels that have the exact same color as the one you selected here. Well, sorry, as the one you click on. But that's not what we want here. Usually I only use 0, but for this kind of situation, we actually want to use this bar so that we remove also these pixels of various green colors, but not the white. So let's see, is that enough? It looks enough, but we can probably do a little better for these borders that became a bit greeny. So let's increase it. Let's see. As soon as it takes the white and the gray, it's too much. Yeah, that's too much, you see. Too much. Ooh, looks not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Maybe a little too much, but I'm not sure. But because there is real green here. Not bad. It takes the gray before the black. So I will have to do more changes by hand. Maybe I should just no, because anyway these things here I will have to remove them by hand anyway. So yeah, let's remove that. These two. I think we are good for now. So I will make this transparent alpha, and here it is. Now it is transparent. So let's. All right. It didn't select all the whites. That's not a problem because we will anyway have to use the hand again to do this. All right. I am particularly slow right now. Usually I work much faster than that, but that's because I'm talking at the same time, so I'm getting a bit unfocused, you know. I hope you don't mind. I'm under the impression that I'm streaming right now, but I'm not actually. Maybe streaming would be better. I could interact with you guys, talk at the same time. But, well, it would certainly be less boring for you. I'm sorry if you fell asleep. You probably didn't watch until now, but that's okay. I like what I'm doing right now. So, yeah, the reason why I can't stream is because I would need a second computer screen to be able to watch the chat while I'm doing my thing, and I don't have enough space in my room to put a second computer screen, so not great. But yeah, I think I would enjoy streaming. If people would be interested enough in watching that thing, which I really doubt. Eh, too green. You see, that's because I forgot to convert to PNG. And now the whole picture is has a greenish tone on the sides. I don't think it will be a problem when we scale it down. So that's why I'm still going on with that. But yeah, that's why that was a real mistake I made here, because I was talking. I don't have to. So you must be asking yourself, why am I doing the whole border again, since only some parts of it must be changed? That's because then I can delete everything with a single click by selecting all this green with the magic wand and 0 here. So that is more practical in some way. Anything that is too green, I remove. That's the goal here. What is dark enough probably doesn't need to be removed. Here I can't remove it because that would affect the shape too much. That's not a problem. I can just change the color like that. It won't be visible in the end. So maybe you're thinking that I'm doing too much here, since we won't see those things in the end. But I don't know. I think it will increase the quality overall. Sometimes I also use that opportunity to correct some black pixels that affect the shape too much, probably, and remove them. How does it look? Yeah, not bad. I think I will settle with that photo for the crest. I think the more I look at it, the more I think it will be alright. I'm not sure completely yet, but yeah, I think it will be good enough. Ooh boy, that video is gonna be long. Maybe I should cut it. Yeah, as you can see, I'm doing everything with the mouse. That's less than ideal, obviously. Normally, I should use. How is it called in English? A drawing tablet, probably, something like that. But, well, I don't have one because I'm very bad. I'm very bad at drawing, so that's I don't have a use for one. And well, overall, I think I am more at ease with a mouse anyway. I am sure doing some spriting, but that's not at all the same as drawing. It doesn't require any drawing skill. Drawing skills help a lot, obviously, but I can do lots of cool sprites without ever using real drawing skills. There probably are other skills, but I think it's easier to learn. It's certainly less work to make some good, to obtain good results. Especially when I can just straight up take from the internet some pictures. Speeding up a little bit. Yeah, my accent is awful. I hope it's not too painful to listen to for native English speakers. Alright, so we're almost there. Yeah, sometimes I'm not modifying the border for longer lengths of time and well, pixels, but that's okay. I still need to check everything, so that's not an issue. I'm not actually losing much more time than if I wasn't drawing that green border, because I would have to check everything anyway. Is it too green? Yeah, probably. Oops. Actually, maybe I should not put music so that you can listen to your own kind of music while watching this or listening to this. I mean, that's even better since you can relax your own way, I guess. But on the other hand, maybe you'd like to discover some music if I find something good, so I don't know. Should I keep this white thing? Nah, I shouldn't. That comes from the white background change I made earlier. Alright. Getting good. Almost done. Well, almost done. Getting there. So yeah, I was talking about the magic for this nation. I was saying that the moon magic is astral, water, earth, blood, and what did I forget? Death. It doesn't mean that I have to use all of this in this nation. I'm not sure at all of what I will use for now, because well, it's important to make the nation feel unique, to choose its magic paths well enough. Usually I try to avoid giving a nation 5 easily accessible paths. I like to add big restrictions to available paths. All right, looks like this is done. All right. All right, looks good. I think, and here we're done. So I will save that just in case. And now we can change the size of that thing. So usually we want well, what size we want for a crest actually. A sprite must usually be smaller than 128 per 128, but obviously the crest will only take some space in the flag sprite, so we don't want to use that much just for the crest. I'm tired, guys. Sorry if I can't find my words. Oops. Okay, GIMP is weird sometimes. So, how big is that thing? I think it must be 64 by 64. Yeah, that's roughly that. So we want that moon to be roughly 54 by 54, but here we have a bigger border, so we will first reduce that border. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. Let's make it 600 and see if it fits. Not exactly. This should do it. Yeah, that does it. So actually I can now again save. Now we will reopen. We don't need paint anymore. We don't need that thing anymore. And where are you, paint? We'll use this option to scale down the picture. We want it to be roughly 54, so that's perfect. We will just divide by 10. And here we have a little crest. That looks good. I think it looks good. This blue part, as I predicted, is annoying. It feels annoying, but I think I can fix it. So here it's gonna be a little more technical than what we did, and very probably a lot quicker too, because I won't lose as much time doing some repetitive tasks. So we want to make it grayer and maybe darker too. Yeah. We can cut it. Well, maybe I will save that thing first. We will cut the blue part with the green thing, and then, whoops, Then we will copy it on the picture, but change its coloring. I think that's roughly it. So we will remove all that is on the left. It's not useful for us. There is some transparency now, so I have to be careful about that. So this means that I have to remove the parts that are transparent because they will be doubled up otherwise. So what is transparent here? Wait, yeah. This, well, I can go beyond because I will anyway copy and paste the thing I just cut. And here it is. Now we remove that transparent part and we put that here. Yeah, that's good. That's what we want. All right, now we have the blue part selected. So we will try some filters, some color filters. Let's try reducing saturation. We'll make it grayer, and luminosity we'll make it darker. Maybe I reduced saturation too much here. Yeah, that's better. A bit darker probably. Yeah. Let's see, how does it work? Not bad. Not bad. So there are a few pixels that are a bit off, probably. These ones I'm not sure. But here, that's for sure. We will do that. And well, we will also darken that thing here. Nah. Is that good? Maybe a bit darker even. So we will get our custom color, and here we are. Too dark. Too dark. No. Let's not make random choices. Yeah, perfect. All right. That must be good. And then there's this one that annoys me a bit. I think it should be better like that way. Yeah, that one is too bright. We don't have to remove it, but it's too bright for sure. Yeah, that's better, I think. And we are done. We're mostly done. There's just a bit too much blue here still. So we will use this tool, which will spray some color wherever we want. So we can use this, well, mostly this one, to choose how quick it will change colors. I think that's good that way. Yeah, looks good. And save. Now we can see if it looks good as a real crest or not. Well, it does look good, at least for now as a simple picture. Yeah, I think it works out. Yeah, I think I will use that one as a crest. Let's see if that's the right size. It could be too big. So now we will go in the part, we start the part where we create the flag itself. So I have some little flag parts that I cut myself from sprites in the sprites dumps that can be downloaded in the forums, and also in the modding starter pack for some. I found some sprite dumps that were not in the modding starter pack, but it's useless to ask me where I found them because I don't remember. Anyway, what we want, first we want to see how it looks. So we will use these two pictures. With this one we will just add a border on that one here, whoops, here, and now we will paste that crest here, and it does look too big. It does look too big. So I think we can still reduce it with, well, scale it down again without cancelling all that we did with coloring here. Usually you'd want to cancel your scaling down to scaling down from the better picture. But I mean, let's see how it works, works out here before we panic. Could work, could work. So how does it work this time? Not bad, not bad. Yeah, that looks like a good size. Yeah, that's a good crest, I think. Maybe it looks too spherical actually. And that's where we can start thinking about reducing the contrast. Alright, first I will save that thing. And now we will see if it looks easy enough or not to work on the contrast without fucking up everything. So we want it to have less contrast in order to look flatter a bit. And because right now there's so much contrast that it makes the rest of the picture look flat, which isn't good, obviously. That's what happens when you paste something that's too realistic on a sprite that is not. Yeah, that's the usual problem with reducing contrast. Usually increasing contrast is easier because when you reduce contrast, it also grays everything. So how can I fix this? There are various tools that could work. Maybe that one. So let's select the darker tones, the darker parts of the picture, and how will we modify them exactly? Yeah, that's what we want, I think. Let's try this, and let's try also maybe one of these things. Which one is the best? I'm not sure. It's funny because the one on the middle looks, well, the ones either I can increase saturation or I can decrease it. But what's weird is that in both cases the result looks pretty similar, even though both look very different from the original. That's interesting. I see. Yeah, that must be the right thing to do. All right. Well, let's try this one first. Yeah, that's probably a bit too gray. But now we can increase saturation instead. Increase contrast, I mean. We can now increase contrast a little bit. And that should be better. No, we can't really make this more light. And then we can reuse that filter yeah, it's looking good, I think. Yeah, not bad, not bad. All right, let's see. It may be better. You see, that one looked much too. It had much too much. It has a lot of contrast, too much, clearly. While we're getting better here, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, maybe that one. Maybe that one is the best, actually. Yeah, I think that one is the best. We went too far the second time, probably. I don't know, actually. Because it does look like a big sphere when we look like that. Maybe here it doesn't. No, it still does look like a big sphere. But I do prefer it that way rather than the original. Maybe that's because it's too big then. I mean, I know that's because of the contrast, but maybe if I made it a bit smaller still, it wouldn't feel as obnoxious. Let's first save it just in case. And then we can copy that thing. No, that's not necessary actually. We will just reopen the first one and we will use the memory of our filter. Damn, that's maybe more complicated than I thought actually. Let's see. Yeah, there's no option to retrieve the same, but I think I can remember it. And there was no saturation change. I think it was like that. man. Well, that's not a problem. We can just restart what we did. That's easy enough. So, yeah, it looks mostly the same, almost the same. Yeah, almost. Not exactly. This one is less blue. Oh yes, I know why. That's because we forgot that part. Yeah, that's roughly this. Alright, let's make it smaller now, as we wanted. So, 55, we said that's too big. Let's try 48. That may look better, yeah? And actually, I should change the colors only once I am in the picture to be sure that it looks good. So 48. Oops. Yes. Hop. We can remove that thing. So yeah, that looks like the right size actually. So we want something like that, yeah. Meh. All right, contrast. Somewhere between the two would be ideal. So that one is nothing. Yeah, maybe just 2.6 or 5. Yeah, looks good. Could work. All right. I'm still not completely satisfied, but yeah, maybe a bit smaller. Will it work if I do this? Nah, it won't. That's not a problem. So let's try 42 and then our thing there and there. This Yeah, looks good. Actually, the problem might come from the picture we used itself, because you see, when I zoom out, it doesn't really look like the moon anymore. It just looks like a big bowl of bowling. Maybe we just need more contrast, actually, to make the craters look more cratery. Nah, doesn't change much. What crests do we have? Yeah, that was the issue from the beginning with that picture. The craters look a bit too flat compared to that one. But I liked the overall shape. However, we saw that it looked too spherical for the crest, while this one doesn't look as spherical, probably. It might be better then. And yeah, this one doesn't look as good, so for sure. I haven't tried these two photographs yet, but they look good as well. Yeah, that was definitely too big. Definitely. And with that one, let's save it to see what it looks like. That's better, at least. Yeah, that's better. Maybe still too big, actually. Yeah, maybe still too big. So that's not a problem. Let's try 37. The only issue is that at some point it won't look like a moon anymore. Good. Let's see. That's definitely harder to choose. Yeah, considering the fact that it looks like a real ball, that's literally like put on top of the flag, I think the smaller one looks more realistic and less ridiculous. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. Yeah, I think I like the last one. Alright. Well, I think that we are done with that crest. Of course, we still have to change the colors of the main color of the flag and the color of the border, and maybe change a bit the color of the pole as well. I mean, we could use some other material than wood, but well, for now I don't have a clear inspiration, so maybe in a future video. And well, I think that this video is getting long enough. I mean, I don't know how long. Yeah, 2 hours long. Wow. Well, we have to stop it. So, thank you a lot for having followed that video, and do tell me what you thought about it. Next time I will try to make it shorter. Very sorry. If that's the next time, of course. Anyway, see ya!